9 p.m. and 10 p.m., alleging a conflicting timeline between the police's claim and the arrival of the victim at Ebubechukwu Maternity Hospital at 3 a.m. on the 6th of September 2024, where he was reportedly rushed. While some perishable goods transporters, questioned by Afia TV, say that they would, when necessary, solicit the assistance of soldiers and not the police due to the extreme nature of the harassment by illegal tax collectors. Mr. Aguna's relatives maintain that perishable goods transporters who drive J5 buses or vans do pick up 1 or 2 police officers to protect them from violence and extortion. On the night of the incident, relatives maintain that DSP Uche Okeke, the DCO of Unity Police Division, Nike in Enugu, clashed with the head of the tax collectors identified as CJ. According to their accounts, the police officer immediately started beating the tax collectors, thereby insinuating that the police started the altercation. On the fateful night, this man who pleaded anonymity was also said to have been assaulted by the police during the raid. Again, the veracity of this account may only be proven by surveillance footage or otherwise, which is unavailable at the time of filing this report. Mr. Aguna's family maintains that all they want is justice for their dead husband and father, who was neither a tax collector nor a perishable goods transporter. Reacting to questions raised by the police about Kingsley Aguna's ownership of a tricycle and, as may be inferred, profession, sources who pleaded anonymity corroborated his ownership of a tricycle.
Kingsley is a keke rider. He's not working produce. He's riding keke. Kingsley used to carry passenger and drop here. He always do his account on that keke every weekend. He's not a produce worker. He used to come here when you carry somebody, just once in a day, in the evening. We just come and go. He's a keke rider. It's somebody's keke he's riding, not his own.
This is Mrs. Ifoma Aguna and her 5-month-old baby clinging to her mother's side as she bears her heart to the government and all those who can come to her assistance.
He left around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, going to work. So he went out with my phone because his phone was down. So because he's only me that he can be able to call that very day, but he could not call me because he's with my phone. So that's on Thursday. I was expecting him to come back. He did not come back. There is no way to communicate him because I was not with phone. He's the one that is with my phone. So that's on Thursday. I did not see him on Friday. I did not see him on Saturday. I did not see him. So I started running around, go to the police station. They told me that I should wait. Let me call the man that had the keke that he's driving. If I call the man, then we'll track the keke to know exactly where he is. So I couldn't call the man because I'm not with phone. I'm not with the man number off head. So one guy come and called me at home and told me that he saw my husband keke in this Nkwo junction. So I have to rush down here on Sunday morning around 11 o'clock. So story was too much. They was telling me that my husband was sitting on this tax collector bar eating Indomie around 9 to 10 when everything was started happening. People started running up and down. These produce people started running. So my husband was still sitting there, first running. After the second running, he wanted to run down to his keke. Then that Uche hit him. Uche Okeke hit him with 2x2. He fell down inside gutter. And he was shouting on that very day, telling him that I'm keke rider, I'm keke rider. The man couldn't listen to him. After the beating, they took him to the station on that Thursday night. On Friday morning, they took him to court. They charged him to the court. My husband was telling them, begging them, people should find a means to communicate anybody that belongs to me so that they will know where I am. Uche couldn't listen to him. Lumanus couldn't listen to him. They took him to the court. So, but that night, for them to know that my husband is a keke rider, then my husband called the man that is driving keke for the man 001. They communicated that man that night and told that man that the guy that is driving your son keke is in our custody. But they couldn't tell the man exactly the station. Then the guy that is driving keke for went out on that Friday morning and runs down to this Nike Lake. When he runs down to that Nike Lake, they told him that that kind of case is not in their custody. And the guy said, okay, when you now go to that EOK around to 11, they told him that they have charged my husband to court. I runs down to this station, this man. He's a popular guy. He's not somebody that if you see where somebody is crying or something like that, he will just pass by.
She further alleges assault by one of the officers, Romanus, and bad blood between the other officer and her now deceased husband.
Even the day that we went to that station, that man who started fighting me and my husband brother, started beating me in that station. My little daughter was crying. It's that day that my daughter know that his daddy was dead. He was like, you people killed my daddy and start fighting my brother here. Say, mommy, give me knife. After this, I will kill all of them. They started laughing. I said that it's not laughing matter. This guy never know that his father is dead. It's now that he know that his father is dead. He destroyed my husband brother phone that very day. After everything, they started calming us down. Say we did not supposed to come here and started fighting. We're supposed to come and know so that we will settle. Say settle what? Somebody that is dead already. The youth who started driving me up and down. If you say that I should go to prison, I go to prison. They will tell my husband is in the court. So that is how everything happened. If they told you that my husband is a produce, my husband is not a produce, those people are still working up till now. My husband is a keke driver. He's Temple. Everybody knows he's my Temple. And even that IPO told me that he knows my husband. Because last year, they arrested my husband 2 times. That IPO, that Uche. I went to that station. I even quarreled with them. So, Uche have not told us the business he have with my husband that make him kill him. You understand? Maybe they have something to share in common. You have not said it because it's not that he hold my husband. My husband is not a produce. He's the one that killed my husband. Everybody in this world knows it because I'm having an eye problem. It's very difficult to me. How will I train my children? How? A 32 years old guy. They just killed him, waste his life like that.
Mr. Aguna's family is calling for nothing else but justice and government intervention. We earlier reported that Kingsley, who was only at the bar for recreational purposes, later turned to a victim of the alleged multiple arrests when he attempted to flee from the scene.
The whole thing happened the way it happened, yes. Well, before we could get to the notice of his presence in police custody, he's already dead. So, but we are demanding that justice is served. Kingsley has 2 children, one of 4 years and one of 5 months. The one of 5 months barely knows her father. The wife has eye problem. She has sight challenge. And generally, their well-being, their welfare, their education, their upbringing, everything is resting on the shoulder of the family and solely to the wife of Kingsley. So we are asking that government comes to the aid of that young woman, that these police officers are brought to book, not just for Kingsley's sake, but for the innocent people roaming around the street who might end up in this particular situation again. And then there should be a substantial ransom paid on behalf of this in terms of monetary aspect, so that the family will have a means of livelihood.
In Enugu, Nathalie Uko reporting for Apia TV.
That's a heart-rending tale there. Moving on now to a separate development. A fire outbreak occurred at Enyimba FM in Aba late Saturday night, causing substantial damage and prompting an immediate temporary shutdown of the station and its 2 sister radio stations. The fire, which ignited around 10:15 p.m., was eventually brought under control by firefighters. Our correspondent in Aba, Chibukem Agomba, now reports.
At approximately 10:15 p.m. on Saturday, Enyimba FM, a prominent radio station in Aba, Abia State, experienced a sudden and intense fire outbreak. The station, which houses 2 additional radio stations, Legend FM 98.3 and Rose FM 101.9, within its complex was quickly engulfed in flames. Emergency services, including the Aba Fire Service, responded swiftly to the scene, managing to contain and eventually extinguish the blaze after an intense firefighting effort. Thankfully, no life was lost. This is the aftermath of the inferno, which happened late last night. In response to the tragic incident, Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti visited the site on Sunday morning to assess the aftermath and offer words of comfort to the station's management and personnel. In a statement released yesterday, the management has decided to temporarily shut down the station. Although there were no reported injuries, the impact of the fire on the equipment and broadcasting facilities is severe, with significant portions of the complex affected. The station's manager, Michael Oni, who spoke to Afia TV, detailed the sequence of shared insights into the fire incident.
It was around 15 minutes before 10 p.m. that I got a call at home that the building is on fire. So I rushed down here. I put a call across to the fire service. Before I even got to the office, they were already here trying to put out the fire, but it was a raging inferno. The fire was so much that it was difficult to contain because of the smoke. So we tried our best, but it destroyed things, properties worth millions of naira. 3 radio studios, 1 television studio, the control room, the engineering department, the lobby, and it was spread into the admin block before we were able to put out the fire. But in percentage of loss, we lost over 95% of the properties that we have here. But we thank God that there was no life lost. The engineer on duty was able to come out safe and sound. So basically, but we do not know the cause of this incident, but the engineer's account, the engineer on duty said that he heard a loud bang and he's thinking that it is from the solar panel. But we'll be asking, will solar panel have issues late in the night? But then we thank God for everything, and we hope that we'll go back very soon.
At the moment, the management will be assessing the level of damage and possible timeline for resuming broadcasts. In Aba, Chibike Magomba, reporting for Afia TV.
In a related development, Mr. Michael Oni, the station manager of Enyimba FM, one of the 3 stations gutted by fire the weekend in Aba, Abia State, has revealed that sabotage is not out of the question. He speculates that this is due to the station's objective reporting. He disclosed this in an interview on the Afia Morning Show today.
At the moment, we're still investigating, but you cannot rule out sabotage at this point, looking at the level of investigation that the level that we've gone, looking at the investigation that is ongoing. But then, you cannot rule out solar panel, but you cannot also rule out sabotage. So all options are on the table, and we're getting to the root of the matter. That is what I can tell you at this moment.
Mr. Oni further harped on the possibility of a targeted attack while fielding questions about the closeness of the fire outbreak to the election coverage timeline.
We've not had any faults relating to the solar panel. But as you know, you guys are in the system. We do routine maintenance every month, and we take a look at deep assessment of our equipment every month. In fact, we also are putting all preventive measures. We have over 10 fire extinguishers in the apartment. It's actually a makeshift building because we're yet to move into our permanent site.
He further assured that all necessary fire safety equipment was available at the facility. And following the local government elections that took place at the weekend in Abia State, The chairman-elect have been issued with certificates of return on Sunday. Emmanuel Nwazue, Afia TV Bureau Chief in Abia State, who witnessed the issuance of the certificates at the state headquarters of the Abia State Independent Electoral Commission, APSEAC, reports that the new local government bosses will be sworn in today in Umuahia.
From the results announced here at the State Coalition Center on Saturday night, the hitherto unknown Zenith Labour Party claimed victory in 15 out of 17 local government areas, leaving the relatively known Young Progressive Party, YPP, with the remaining 2. Interestingly, the Labour Party, which government is in power, and the PDP, which left the government after 24 years, were nowhere to be found in the scheme of things. As a result, these men, whose palm kernels appear to have been cracked by a benevolent spirit, are here with their faces beaming with blessedness to receive their certificates.
Today is a day to congratulate you and to give you an instrument which satisfies you as the winner, called Certificate of Return. I wish you luck as the mayors of your respective local government areas, irrespective of the party you are coming from. What Abians need is a holistic development.
With that, they stepped out one after another to receive them.
Innocent
Any idea
from as a mayor of Kismaland. Congratulations.
Some of them spoke to the press.
Are impassible. So if you have a bike and you want to go to your farm to evacuate your farm produces, you're unable to do that because there is no access road to do that. So we'll look at that, look at opening up access roads to our farm.
People will be expecting from you.
Yeah, they will expect good governance from me. I will definitely offer good governance to the people.
You have a word for your opponents?
Yeah. My opponents, I will tell them that this is time to govern. The time for campaign, election has come and gone. This is time for governance. And I'm inviting all of them to join me, join hands with me, let us build and develop our place. That is Umuahia South. Let us work for our people. Let us offer dividends of democracy to our people.
With promises of good governance, they would be sworn in later this Monday. In Umuahia, Emmanuel Nwazue reporting.
Moving now to the South, where the ruling All Progressives Congress has won all 18 chairmanship positions in the Cross River local government elections held on Saturday, November 2nd. The chairman of the Cross River State Electoral Commission and Elections Returning Officer, Dr. Ekong Boko, declared the result at the Commission's headquarters in Calabar on Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Also, certificates of return were issued to winners shortly after the declaration of results by Dr. Boko. Reacting to the results, the Cross River State Governor, Basi Otu, congratulated the winners and described the election as peaceful. He expressed hope that the newly elected local government chairman would align with his people's first agenda for the state. Away from that now, former President Obasanjo and Governor Chukwuma Soludo attended a DRC Nigeria Business Council meeting. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his counterpart, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, were among the notable attendees at the DRC Nigeria Business Council meeting held in Lagos. The council aims to enhance economic cooperation and identify business opportunities between Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The DRC Nigeria Business Council had several key objectives, including promoting economic growth by encouraging trade and investment between the two nations. Additionally, the council seeks to explore various sectors for collaboration and mutual benefit, while enhancing regional cooperation to strengthen ties between the West and Central Africa. Former President Obasanjo's presence underscored the importance of the council's efforts in Africa's economic development by uniting key stakeholders The DRC Nigeria Business Council is positioned to drive significant change and stimulate economic growth in both countries. It's time for a break now. When we return, we have stories from the national scene. Stay with us.
It's a brand new week and another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Thanks for staying tuned on Afia TV News today. We are reaching you live from Enugu, Southeast Nigeria. My name is Alex Obodo. To national stories now, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has urged President Bola Tinubu to consider his recommendations to revive Nigeria's ailing economy. Abubakar noted that effective reforms should be implemented in the nation's oil and economic sectors, adding that he supports both the removal of the fuel subsidy and the floating of the naira. In a Sunday tweet titled, "What We Would Have Done Differently," Atiku, a former vice president who served alongside former President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007, outlined his recommendations for addressing such issues such as insecurity and easing the effects of subsidy removal on the masses. Similarly, the presidency has criticized former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is advocating for gradual reforms rather than President Bola Tinubu's direct approach. The president's special advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, in a statement he issued on Sunday, argued that Atiku's economic proposals would have worsened the country's situation. Onanuga maintained that Atiku's call for a gradual approach only demonstrates his lack of awareness of the severe issues President Tinubu inherited. Meanwhile, the federal government has commended the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission for its significant strides in empowering youths in the country. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, expressed his appreciation during the flag-off ceremony for the distribution of startup kits to graduates of the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission Youth Transformation Program in Minna, Niger State. Represented by his Chief of Staff, Mr. Simon Tungu, the SGF urged stakeholders to support the initiative aimed at empowering the youth population to drive economic growth and prosperity. He stressed the importance of collective efforts in promoting positive change, aligning shared goals, and fostering social development across the country. And still on the national scene, Minister of Works David Umahi has warned contractors handling government projects sternly, emphasizing that any contractor lacking the necessary equipment promised in their bid will face contract termination. Umahi said this during a stakeholders meeting to address ongoing developments on the Lagos-Calabar Highway. He provided an overview of recent budget allocations and interventions, highlighting the government's commitment to repairing roads and bridges in dire need of maintenance. The minister announced that the ministry is close to completing 95% of these projects, with transparency being a priority. To business news now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and its counterpart in Morocco, the Office of National Hydrocarbon and Mines, have announced a progress on the 6,800 kilometers Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project, which is a significant milestone in the plan to kickstart the African Atlantic gas pipeline project. Speaking, the Group Chief Executive of NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari, praised the project's progress, attributing it to effectiveness of regional collaboration and the effective efforts of all parties involved. On his part, the Executive Vice President Gas, Power and New Energy, Olaleko Gule, added that the front-end engineering design FEED Phase 2 study has been completed and surveys are currently underway for environmental and spatial impact assessments. And the Dangote refinery says it sells petrol for ship deliveries at 960 naira per litre and 990 naira per litre for truck supplies. This was disclosed in a statement by the refinery's Group Chief Branding and Communications Officer, Anthony Chejina, on Sunday, addressing allegations from the oil marketers that imported fuel is priced lower than Dangote's offerings. The company dismissed the claims, suggesting that any cheaper imports are likely substandard. The refinery defended its pricing as being in line with global standards, emphasizing the need for Nigeria to support its local refining sector. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy has invited stakeholders to an investigative public hearing on the $2 billion renewable energy grants and investments meant for the development of the renewable energy sector in Nigeria, which has not made a commensurate impact on the energy security challenges in the nation. The public hearing, which is scheduled to hold on Tuesday, November 5th and Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, follows the mandate given to the committee by the House of Representatives on Thursday, June 6th, 2024, to investigate ministries, departments and agencies with the dealings in investment, procurement and receipt of grants for the development of the renewable energy sector. According to a statement by the chairman of the committee, Mr. Victor Afam Victor, in Abuja, the probe will cover the period from 2015 to 2024. It's time for another break. When we return, we'll have stories from the international scene and the world of sports. Stay with us.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owners, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and...
An incompetent means an incompetent person.
What are your
You're welcome back to News Today here on Afia TV. Moving now to the international scene, where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced plans to double funding for the UK's Border Security Agency and to combat people smuggling gangs with the same intensity as terror networks, aiming to curb migrant crossings of the English Channel in small boats. In a speech on Monday at an Interpol meeting, Starmer addressed the international police community, emphasizing that gangs behind irregular migration a significant threat to global security. He argues that Starmer's proposal includes increased cooperation between law enforcement agencies, closer international coordination, and unspecified enhanced powers for law enforcement. The United States Vice President and Democratic Party's candidate, Kamala Harris, has promised to legalize recreational marijuana if elected president. Harris, who disclosed this in a statement on her X handle, also promised to create opportunities for Americans to succeed in the marijuana industry. Kamala Harris will face former President Donald Trump of the Republican Party in tomorrow's election. She emerged as the Democratic Party's candidate after President Joe Biden stepped down as the party's candidate in July and endorsed her. And finally, on the international front, at least 10 people have died after a series of volcanic eruptions took place in eastern Indonesia, spewing fireballs and ash on surrounding villages and burning down several houses. The eruption of Mount Lewatobi Laki-Laki, a 5,587-foot twin volcano located on the popular tourist island of Flores, took place just after midnight on Monday, forcing authorities to evacuate several villages. Spokesman of the country's disaster mitigation agency, Abdul Muhari, confirmed the death toll at a news conference, adding that 10,295 people had been affected by the eruptions and the number of evacuees were still being calculated. In the world of sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has announced date for the commencement of the group stage of the Champions League and Confederations Cup. Nigeria's representative, Enyimba International, are among the teams who will campaign in group stage of this season's Confederations Cup. According to CAF, the group stage of the competition will start on November 26th and 27th, 2024. Meanwhile, Zamalek of Egypt are presently the defending champions of the competition, and they are in the same group with Enyimba International. And lastly, in sports, Ikorodu City FC ended Rivers United unbeaten run with a comfortable home win in a match day 10 of the MPFL tie. The Oga Boys had their noses in front via Ayomide Cole's first goal of the season after he tapped in a cross from close range on 48th minute in Ikene. Michael Ibe's solitary strike sealed the 3 points for the Stars against Lobby Stars. Also, Godwin Obaja's brace for Rangers International ensured that Nasarawa United returned home empty-handed, while Niger Tornadoes defeated Shooting Stars 2-0 in Minna. In the Oriental Derby, Heartland FC got better of Abia Warriors with a 2-0 comfortable win away at the Umuahia Township Stadium. Next is the special report. And following our earlier calls by the Imo State House of Assembly for the state government to rename the Imo International Convention Center IICC after late Emmanuel Wayang, the governor has made moves to bring this request to reality. Here is a report by our correspondent in Owerri, Miriam Onyebule.
Imo Governor Hope Uzodinma reviewed plans to rename the Imo International Convention Center IICC after the late Chief Iwayanwo during his funeral service on Friday, November 1st. This is in a bid to immortalize his name. Many residents believe this is a welcome idea, as Chief Iwayanwo before his death was known for achieving several feats in politics, philanthropy, community development, and emancipation of Igbo people. Barnabas, a businessman in Owerri, believes that renaming the late chief after the state's ICC is only the barest minimum.
For me, anything for the man, nothing is too big for him. This is a man who stood out for the Igbos, not just the Igbos. He was a core nationalist, an international politician for that matter. And in his lifetime, he did his best to put Nigeria first in everything he was doing. Now we're talking about Imo State, that is his core constituency. I don't think anything is too big for him. Already we have roads in his name, and so on and so forth. Beyond Imo State, there are streets after Chief Emmanuel Iwayanwo. So, I mean, it's no big deal if the IICC is named after him.
Kingsley, another resident, agrees with Barnabas.
Chief Iwayanwo is a father. He's an icon. If you go by his name, you know now he was known as Ahede Agamba, one of Igbo land. So he has done something great, marvelous. So renaming the ICC in his name is a good commendation from the government, because he's somebody that have impacted life worldwide. So he has impacted life, and his name needs to be preserved. So that any time I know there are so many other things. He has many streets in Owerri, and some other things that have been named after him. And also naming the ICC after him is a good commendation, because it's a name that needs to be preserved. So the man has done well. He has paid a price. He has uplifted so many people. He has made many billionaires. So he has trained many. He has done a lot of things that have changed life of many people.
Akim, who is a Lagos State resident visiting Owerri, also has good memories about Iwuanyanwu.
From the governor, because of the importance of Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu. He's a leadership man, and he has done a lot of things for Nigeria, for Southeast. In Nigeria as a whole, we will remember him, because he starts at a tender age, and he did a lot of things. He raised a lot of people. He did many things. Even naming that is not enough to immortalize him.
Thank you very much.
So we need more governors, not only in the Southeast, but in Nigeria in general. We need, even at the national, to immortalize him. He's a great man.
The IICC, which is still under renovation, is slated to be a world-class international conference center upon completion. Thoughts, naming the center after late Iwuanyanwu, we help Imo people to always remember his achievements. In Owerri, Miriam Unyebule for Afia Television.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that report. When we return from this break, we'll have a discussion here, and my guest is already seated. Stay with us.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of owing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence.
You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
Join us on Gyno Plus every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right on Afia TV, DSTV channel 254, and GoTV channel 17, where we will delve into health issues affecting girls and women in society.
Breastfeeding doesn't even cause breast size. The frequency of breastfeeding determines the approach you take to make sure that your well-being is maintained.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show upon your ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did single.
For real.
You're not a backup singer.
That's what they do.
Week and another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Welcome back to Afia TV News, the discussion segment. As you may well have noticed, there's been an ongoing saga at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, as to who should be the Vice-Chancellor. And of course, recently, Professor Bernard Odo was appointed the Vice-Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University. But then there's been a back and forth, even from the Federal Ministry of Education, where a letter again originated and saying that due process, a lot of due process things going on. So the question is, what is going on in Nnamdi Azikiwe University? Is the person appointed not worthy of being the Vice-Chancellor, or were there procedural breaches in who will become the new Vice-Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, or is there a problem with where he comes from? So what's really is the problem? I am joined this afternoon to really share his perspectives on this by Chukwuma Ephraim Okenwa. He is the Executive Director of Lead Network Africa. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
So I'm sure you've been following the saga that's been going on at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. I'm sure you will have seen some of the letters written back and forth. I think a permanent secretary wrote on behalf of Minister of State, and then a reply was also sent. So what do you make out of all that exchange?
What I could make out is, first and foremost, all that is happening goes far to show that we are all political animals. Like it's all about the power play. Who becomes what and who gets what at the end of the day. But aside from the major thing which was cited by the Ministry of Education, which is a breach in the process, one of the things I find very interesting and look forward to the unfolding of the story is the fact that some of his colleagues in NIU allegedly wrote to the school where he claimed he was made a professor, right? And the school replying, in line with the Freedom of Information Act, stated that he was never a lecturer, he never worked with the university. So we're looking forward to that particular, which is even a more serious matter. But aside from that, first and foremost, we must have to appreciate the fact that it is the Governing Council that took this decision, right? The Governing Council constitutionally has that right, has the powers. The Ministry of Education, like we know, just plays supervisory roles and is not permitted to interfere into board affairs or some of those governing councils, things. Even when the cases of citing, we're not there to observe what happened, they should just be there as observers and not really maybe those that will select for Nnamdi Azikiwe University, right? So the question is, okay, fine, aside from all the stakeholders which were cited and which in the letter, the reply by the current administration in UNIZIK, right? The secretary writing, saying, okay, we followed all the process. That apart from the internal counselors, internal, what's the right word you used there? So apart from the internal stakeholders, right? That you cited were not involved. Even the external ones also, we're involved in all of the process. That's the council, right? The internal council in the institution. So saying, we've done all that needed to be done, right? And then also even presented a list, of all those that took part, which is now going to help to put the rest, whether the process was followed or not. But what I even see as a more damning issue at this point is the fact that his professorship, it's also under contention, right? It's under contention. And I'm really looking forward to how the whole thing unfolds.
All right, let me just read an excerpt from the letter from the Federal Ministry of Education. Of course, they addressed it to the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council. And the title is Appointment of Substantive Vice-Chancellor and Registrar for Nnamdi Azikiwe University. So it wasn't just about the Vice-Chancellor. Sequel to your meeting, I think my friends over there, they have that. They should just check so we can, the viewers can follow me. The sequel to the meeting with the Honorable Minister of State for Education on the 25th of October, it was formally agreed that no appointment should be carried out by your council without reconciling with the aggrieved parties in the university community. So there are aggrieved parties. It has come to the attention of the ministry that your council had gone ahead to appoint a vice-chancellor for the university without the representative of the ministry. The internal council members and other stakeholders on Tuesday, 29th October 2024, this is a gross disregard to constituted authority and is not in line with extant provisions. And it says, against this backdrop, I'm directed to inform you that all appointments made so far are null and void. You are therefore requested to put on hold all other appointments in the university pending the assumption on duty of the new Honorable Minister of Education. So,
okay.
So that's it.
So when we get to this, so the question here, which is very important, the Ministry of Education says, until there is reconciliation of all the aggrieved parties, the question is, whose responsibility is it to bring this reconciliation, right? The ministry as a supervisory body, understanding that you cannot be a judge in your own case, perhaps if you think that there is evidence to believe that there is like a sort of an aggrieved party to start with, right? Who don't agree what is doing, then play that role of actually becoming the unifying force. And then secondly is that we now see the current leadership saying, well, we followed all the process, all the stakeholders as required by the law that is expected to be on ground, we are fully carried along in this particular process. And I can tell you, all of the boards under the Federal Ministry of Education, you have 17 boards, you have governing councils. The role that the Minister of Education plays is supervisory. It's not meant to like a kind of decide what happens at the board level, at the level of governing council, and all the rest of it, right? The very fact that maybe somebody from the ministry was not there is not sufficient enough to invalidate that process. But what I count as even more concern, right? I mean, some persons also that may be aggrieved. I mean, if Bernard really makes his way, perhaps he might be one of the youngest vice chancellors, right? Pretty very young, even like in his process now. So you begin to see like the so-called aggrieved party, some of them saying that, you know, he's relatively a stranger in NIU, but of course he's an alumnus of that great institution, right? And then he's also played his role. But then where there was like 4-year gap, which he claimed to have served as Gasau, right? You know, and was promoted to the position of a professor. If that is validated, then they should allow him enjoy his feathers, right? Otherwise, if someone claims he is a professor and is not one, I mean, it even becomes something more serious. That maybe those that wear the academic toga could even be more political than the politicians. You know, I often tell people, I say, well, when people just think politics is something that consigns those into partisanship, it's completely a lie, right? I think sometimes in religious organization and even in the academic world, if you look at the level of desperation on the part of people to become, then you know that what we accuse politicians of, we might be guilty of as well. Because everybody wants to become. And this thing is all about like fighting for control of power, sharing formula, who gets what, deciding, you know, being at the table to call the shots. That's all the power play that is, you know, currently ongoing at NIU.
I mean, it's troubling because even it looks like even the union there, Academic Staff Union of Universities, they staged a peaceful protest shortly after the announcement of Professor Odo's appointment was made. Yeah, there are different strokes to this. One wants to know exactly what their problem is. So the governing council is led by, the University Governing Council is led by Ambassador Greg Mbadiwe, proceeded with the selection process. Addressing journalists, they are saying that they want intervention from Mr. President, and which now begs the question, is it now political? Because I think that one thing is, Professor Bernard Odo, for clarity, comes from Ebonyi State, and that needs to be said. So is this the problem?
No, not at all.
Because
right?
we know,
Yeah.
and let me situate this.
Yeah.
There was also, when it was time to select VC for UNN, people of Nsukka extraction were very livid. They wanted someone from Nsukka to be a VC. So is it something that should count, that people from that area should produce the VC? Is this what the problem is? Let's be speaking out on this.
No, at the moment, right?
They are not saying
at the moment they are not saying this,
but
right?
it could be.
And the possibility, right,
Yes.
of that actually being the case at this point.
So if Professor Bernard Odo was from Anambra State, would this be much of a problem?
Yeah, perhaps, right? Perhaps. It could be, but what I even see as a more serious issue could be the fact that he's pretty young in the system. I mean, 2009 or thereabout that he finished, right? And then getting him back into as lecturer too, and then rising very fast in the cadre, right?
Is there a problem?
Few years.
Is there a problem with rising fast?
It's a problem in Nigerian system.
Or is there a problem with people in the system who are apparently not going to be vice chancellors? I mean, no matter how long they spend there. Is it about how long you've spent there or the impact you've made in the system?
Yeah, how long also sometimes playing as a factor, because there is this issue of somebody just coming from nowhere just because he's connected, right? You know, what's the yardstick? Why don't you pick this? You know, these are realities, you know, in our service, right? In our nation's service. It's our realities. You know, but beyond that, I would say that even like the protests, so some people are protesting now under the platform of ASU. We've also have counter-protests under ASU. I mean, 5 people can gather themselves and say, we represent the academic staff, you know, and you know, newsmen will be happy to say, okay, so this is lecturer. So under what platform? You're members of ASU. We push it out there in the news. So when it goes out there in the news as ASU, it's stronger. It makes all of the sense, right? And then you also have a counter-protest and all the rest. So what I see as a major issue in this particular thing, it's the fact that the guy, because the person that spoke on behalf of other aggrieved lecturers mentioned something, that somebody that is a stranger to the system, not even recognizing the fact that he is an alumnus of same institution, he's been a lecturer before in the course of his profession, he had to leave, go to the north, allegedly, right? Stayed there. Now, what is even more serious now is that his colleagues has written to that federal institution in Gusau to say, please confirm to us whether this man was a lecturer here. And the institution have written saying he never, right, was a lecturer there. So if you were never, then how come you appointed a professor? So these are, you know, developing stories that we are more interested in.
I mean, another question I'm asking, if he was from Anambra State, would it be an issue? But that will be a question we'll be getting the answers from various stakeholders, because we will be seriously following this story, be sure of that. We will follow this story to the tunnel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
from Okenwa, for your perspectives.
You're welcome.
Chukwuma from Okenwa is the Executive Director, Lead Network Africa. And now to end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. Abia local government chairman-elect have received their certificates of return. In Abuja, former Vice President Atiku has urged President Tinubu to consider his recommendations to revive Nigeria's ailing economy. On business news today, NNPCL has announced progress on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. On the foreign scene, we'll told you that Prime Minister Starmer has announced plans to double funding for UK's border security. That's the news today. Thank you for staying with us. Do follow us on all our social media platforms at Afia TV Official. My name is Alex Obodo. Good afternoon.
new week and another opportunity for